CHL-USHL Prospects Challenge, which is a highly anticipated event, and we just got Team CHL's roster. So the reason we're going to talk about it is because this is an NHL draft podcast, and this is one of the NHL draft events of the year, whether it's on FloHockey or not, whatever it is, you are going to be wanting to follow this because it is an incredible event, and one that we've been talking about for a long time, wanting to see. We wanted to see a little bit of that cross-border rivalry, and certainly Team CHL versus the National Team Development Program's under 18 team, all draft eligible players. It is going to be one of the scouting events of the year. So we finally got the CHL Prospects roster today, as of the day that we're recording it. So great timing, CHL. Thanks for making this happen. I already had a little write-up about this team and about this roster. One thing to get out of the way early, unfortunately, Roger McQueen, a top 10 projected pick for this class, is injured and won't be able to participate in this event. So that is a big loss for Team CHL. It's probably good news for Team USA because that is one large human that will no longer be able to participate. However, it does sound like Matthew Schaefer, who has missed most of this season so far, all of this season so far, with illness, is expected to be on the roster and playing in this event, recovered in time for this. So he is one of the top defensemen for this class. But let's talk about this forward group, because I think Canada as a whole is going to have an incredible roster or incredible draft year of Canadian-born players. We've talked a lot about how the world is continuing to grow and expand, and we're seeing guys go number one from USA, from Russia, from Slovakia, from Sweden, all these different things. You've seen it over the last few years. And of course, last year it was a Canadian going number one, Macklin Celebrini, but a Canadian that played U.S. college hockey. So very interestingly, we'll now have one of the guys that is in the hunt for number one. And that, of course, is Porter Marton of the Brampton Steelheads. And Marton is off to an incredibly hot start in his draft season. 20 points scored for Brampton in 9 OHL games. He has been a dominant force. He has looked every bit like the potential number one pick. He will challenge James Higgins for that designation. Porter Marton, of course, has the size. He has the offensive sense. He has the competitiveness. You know, I think that his skating continues to improve and to become more of an asset to him. But really, I think it's his hockey sense. It's that competitive nature and that size and athleticism combination that he's able to bring to the table. That's going to be a tough guy for Team USA to slow down. So we'll see how that goes. But I think Marton very well could be a dominant presence in this entire thing. So I'm really excited to see what he's going to do as a prospect in this game. The other guy that I think I'm really intrigued to watch in this particular setting, because of how amazingly he started the season, is Michael Misa. A lot of us had kind of written him off as part of the first overall discussion, and maybe he's not going to get to that point, but what he's doing right now needs to be recognized and needs to be noticed, and it certainly is being noticed by NHL scouts, and now he will be part of this team, Michael Misa of the Saginaw Spirit. So currently second in the OHL right now with 21 points. He is the top goal scorer in the league with 14 goals in 10 games. He has been on fire and unstoppable at the early goings of this season. And really, I think what we've seen is Michael Misa taking charge for really the first time. I mean, he had a great rookie year as a 15-year-old and as an exceptional status season. 16-year-old, he was fine, not amazing, didn't light the world on fire, but he was on a very deep team in Saginaw that ended up winning the Memorial Cup. And he had a hand in that. Now it's more his team than it's ever been. And now it's his opportunity to kind of take control. And we're seeing him take the ball and run with it. And that's the thing that I think seeing in this game. Does he take over shifts? Does he dictate play? Is he a play driver alongside his peers? And now you'll recall, Misa did not play in the Hlinka Gretzky Cup last year. He did the year before, but he didn't play in it in August with his draft team. So some of these guys are going to have familiarity from that tournament. He's not going to be one of those players. So it's going to be interesting to see the dynamic of how this team shifts. But that is a guy that I've got my eye on very closely in this particular setting, because we've been watching him this year, and boy, does he look good for the Saginaw Spirit. So Matthew Schaefer, who I mentioned earlier, he's the top defenseman for this team. I think he's going to be a guy that we're all watching, and a lot of us are going to be watching because it might be some of his earliest game action of the season. He had a great Hlinka Gretzky Cup, but he's been out with mono. It's been kind of week to week situation for him. So he's going to have to recover, build up his strength, all those different things. It's not the ideal way to start a draft season, but hopefully he gets over it rather quickly and is able to contribute. But what we've seen from Schaefer so far in his young career is that he's an outstanding defenseman, that he is a great skater, and he is going to make things very difficult with his ability to move pucks on the rush and his ability to transition pucks. I think that's going to be really important for him. A guy that, he's on the masthead of the game promotion right now, Cole Reshney, playing in the WHL. He's another player that had a great Hlinka Gretzky Cup. He is one of the top scorers there, and Reshney now with 13 points in 9 games so far in the WHL. And so he has definitely taken a big step. But, I think even more, we want to see more domination. Can he do it again here with this? One of the things that Canada has been dogged over for years now is its lack of goaltending development. Yet the 2 goalies on this roster are very exciting young talents. Jack Ivankovic from the Brampton Steelheads, and then also you've got Joshua Ravensbergen from the Prince George Cougars. And right now, Ravensbergen is having a little bit of a tough season. I shouldn't say a tough season because he's had success on the scoreboard. Save percentage wise, he's currently sub 900. Not ideal in the draft season, especially since that's not his where he's typically at. But then you look at the other guy, the guy that's going to be sharing the crease with him, and we expect both of these guys to start at least one game here. Jack Ivankovic, who is undefeated so far this season, has a .936 save percentage in the OHL. Anytime I see a junior hockey goalie with a save percentage that's north of .915, I'm starting to get my eyes open a little bit. Now, it's really early in the season. Ivankovic does not have the size that NHL teams covet. However, he is a very talented goaltender, so we'll see exactly how that all plays out for him. But him and Ravensbergen, 2 really, really good goalies in this group for the draft eligibles. Ravensbergen was in Canada's camp as well for the World Juniors, so he's in the mix for that team. Where those 2 guys go in the draft ultimately, could one of them sneak into the first round? I think both of them will probably slip no further than the second based on the pedigree that they've shown, unless they have a really terrible season. They're both off to a good start. Now, we've talked a little bit about Team USA, and the U.S. team will have the NTDP roster. So the U.S. National Under-18 team will be the one that is competing against Team CHL. And they've had a very up and down, uneven season. They've had some tough games against colleges so far. They've struggled in some of those games. They've even had some tough games against USHL teams. So this is going to be interesting because this game dynamic, you've got the team that's always together with the under-18s, and then you bring together an all-star team. However, a lot of those guys do have experience with each other. They played at the Hlinka Gretzky Cup, or some of them played at the under-18 World Championship. And so they're going to have some familiarity. So that'll be interesting. But I think when you look at a pure talent perspective, it's a tough year for USA to kind of go into this game, because I do think that the NTDP's talent level is a little bit tougher to match what the CHL is going to be putting out this particular season. This isn't like the 97s or the 2001s that had just a litany of first round draft picks in their roster. There's a couple of guys with a chance to be in the first round. They've also been without LJ Mooney for the last few weeks due to injury. So there's a lot of different things that are kind of coming into play. But that familiarity with each other, having played together for a year plus already, that should help kind of narrow the talent gap that I think is pretty evident at this particular game. I got my plans to head out there. I already booked my travel. So I will be going out to this event November 26th and 27th. It'll be in London and Oshawa. So 2 OHL hotbeds. I am sure the tickets will be flying off the shelves there for those 2 games. Obviously, some great venues for this event as well. Really looking forward to seeing how it all works, who stands out, how this works with having CHL top prospects and other events. Will this replace that? Well, there's a lot of unknowns at this point, but all I know is that there's probably going to be upwards of 200 plus NHL personnel at this event. I think you'll see a lot of NHL general managers there. It's 2 days. It's in November. It's right before Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving, or if you're in Canada, it's a Thursday, that particular week. lots to look forward to. I think this is going to be one of the great events of the scouting calendar. I'm really looking forward to getting my notes together and seeing how they compare with what we've seen so far. So CHL USA Top Prospects Challenge, November 26th and 27th. We will continue to cover it for you on FloHockey and get you ready for that event. But go ahead and check out FloHockey.tv for the article breaking down Canada's whole roster and with their entire roster on there.